Welcome to Direction Northeast. Hello, I'm Katie Parks. This program is a presentation of the Communications Department of Northeast State Community College. This episode of Direction Northeast will take you behind the scenes of the magical land of Narnia. We'll meet our guest and start our discussion following these messages.
My name is Amanda Broom. I'm a mass communications graduate. I work behind and in front of the camera, and I got my start at Northeast State.
My name is Brad Ketcherin. I'm a registered nurse, and I got my start at Northeast State.
My name is Ann Rowell. I'm an actress, and I got my start at Northeast State Community College.
Get your start at Northeast State. Visit northeaststate.edu to register for classes. No matter where you're going, Northeast State is here to get you there.
The Chronicles of Narnia is a beloved book series that has seen many big screen and stage adaptations. Our first guest is Assistant Professor of Theater and Director of the upcoming production of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Elizabeth Sloan. Elizabeth Sloan, welcome to Direction Northeast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you and Brad McKenzie switch off directing each semester, and you've chosen The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe to direct this semester. Why did you choose The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Well, this season, the two shows we did last spring, I guess a whole year ahead of time, we try to pick shows that will have a basic theme, and this year we wanted to bring classic books to life. This has always been one of my favorite stories when I was a kid. I obsessed with the world of Narnia since I was very wee, and I really have been wanting to do it here on our stage, the WRCPA, so that's why I picked it.
Now, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is generally regarded as a metaphor of Christianity. You were talking about some themes. Have you chosen to take the production in that direction?
We have not. We have not. I think it'll be, people who know that about the story will interpret that as they want. And also, people can take whatever they want out of the story. I know when I first read it, I had no idea that's what it was about, and you still love it. So I think it's one of those that's open to interpretation, regardless of you take the theme of Christianity, the metaphor of Christianity, and layer it on or not. So we're not focusing on that, but we're letting the audience decide for themselves.
Now, you said it was one of your favorite books as a child.
Yes.
What did you love so much about it, and what do you think your audiences will love about it?
I always sound like such a goober, but when I was a kid, yes, I would have loved to have walked into a closet, which I did. I had a little secret closet, and if animals would have started to talk to me, that would have been just fine with me. I think I'm secretly still hoping that will happen one day. It's fine if it doesn't, but for me, that we get to have that journey into this magical world very much appeals to me. But also, we get to see these children. They're the leaders of this world. They are heard, they are valued, they are brave. And I think that's great to see these children protagonists really rise to the occasion and accept responsibility. It's empowering. It's fun to watch.
The main characters of the play, Lucy, Peter, Susan, and Edmund, range from a young child to a teenage age. How did you cast these young characters at a college setting?
I just cast the college kids. I've debated for a while if I wanted to open it up to younger children, but we have such a wonderful group of theater majors and theater students right now that I knew that we could cast our college-age students as these children roles, and I think the audience, it will not bother them at all that they see a 6-foot-tall Peter. I don't think it's going to faze them. I think that the students are very encompassing a childlike spirit, so I think the audience will accept it very easily.
Now, are they going to act more like children, or?
I think there's definitely an energy shift. There's not, I mean, really it's just a matter of energy. They don't need to do much else. I think Edmund is great. He is definitely a perfect adolescent kid. The character the actor Austin Sparks is playing Edmund. He does a great job. There's not much they have to do other than have that energy shift that children have.
Now, the play begins in London, England. How are you bringing the characters and their backgrounds to the stage?
You know, the script, there's not a ton of, the script does not have a lot of focus on the children in the house in London, in the countryside right outside of London. It doesn't have that at all. In fact, the script doesn't even have the wardrobe in it, which is weird, right? So we have chosen so the show actually starts with the wardrobe on stage, and the first thing we see is Lucy entering the wardrobe. and then the show starts. I would have loved a little more backstory, honestly, in the country manner that they have, but that's really not in the script, and I think it has a really nice, strong opening, so right off the bat, we're in Narnia.
So the focus is going to be largely on Narnia. Do you think it's going to miss that background, or will audiences be able to pick up on it right away?
I think audiences will pick on it right away. It would be great to have some of that backstory, for sure. I love that part of the book very much. But I think the main focus of this story is this transformative world, Narnia. So the action's going to start right away.
Now, you had your crew and cast prepare accents. You have them, or how did you begin to teach them accents, and what are they doing to prepare for that?
We gave them all dialect CDs. Most of them have a standard British dialect. Some of them may have a Cockney accent. And most everyone is doing a really good job with the accents. And I'm not probably in right after spring break, we will I'll listen to them a little more closely and help out those who are being a little inconsistent. But I've been pretty impressed. They've done the work themselves.
Now, you're leaving out the background before the wardrobe, so what are accents adding to the production?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I wonder, could we do this? Does Narnia have to be British? They probably wouldn't. I think it's just staying true to C.S. Lewis's story, that Narnia does seem to be an extension of the children's world in London. So I think it just is staying true to the story.
Switching gears a little bit, as a director, what is your favorite part of the play?
So I think if you asked me this question again, I would answer differently, probably every single time you asked me. Right now, we just did some fight choreography for the big battle between the Witches' army and Aslan's army. And we have some really neat special effects that we're going to use, just really simple, but I think they're going to be really effective. So I'm anxious to see the fight in all of its glory. Right now it's a little rough, but I'm really looking forward to that scene. I think it's going to be awfully epic.
How do you plan a fight scene without anybody getting hurt?
So stage combat is very planned and safe. We have a wonderful fight choreographer named TJ Kent, who is the head of the department at Walter State. So he comes, and we're lucky to have him, and he's certified in fight choreography and knows what he's talking about. And we practice a lot. And before every single show, they have a fight rehearsal, where before every show they will practice and run through the fights slowly and safely. And it's easier than you would think.
How are you and technical director Brad McKenzie collaborating on this show between the costumes, the set, and the characters? How are they coming together?
Great so far. And Brad and I collaborate beautifully. And our focus is on giving our students the most opportunity and responsibility that they want. We've got a great group right now of students, all student designers. And for the first time, Brad, who is the technical director, this is the first time we've ever had a student technical director for the show. We've never had that before, so it's a nice compliment for this particular student. He's really stepping up. And of course, Brad and I are involved in mentoring everyone, but we've been working since right after New Year's, and the students have really just stepped up in a way that I haven't even seen before quite like this. Great collaboration amongst all the designers, and I've been really impressed with them. So it's really coming along.
Costumes, mask, and makeup, you said student designers, have been a collaborative effort between 3 of these student designers. Tell us a little about the creative process you've witnessed them taking part in.
Absolutely. So as a director, the first day we met, I threw out some words. I'm like, here are the words that the world needs to be like these words. Organic was one of them. Simple was even a word. So they come back with sketches, and they were like, yeah, okay, let's change this, let's change that, and they bring in more. Brad, as the department's technical director, is the quality control, so he's making sure there's excellent design unity amongst everyone. So he's made some suggestions along the way, and the students, it's amazing, especially those 3 that you talked about. They have really worked together and challenged each other, and I see them all talking together and helping each other out. It's been amazing. It's been amazing to watch that.
One of the scenes has Father Christmas coming to
Yes,
visit the
yes,
children.
Yes.
Why is it so odd that Father Christmas is coming to visit them?
So it says in the script that Father Christmas has not been around in centuries. I think it's Mr. Beaver says like Father Christmas hasn't been around in my lifetime, my father's lifetime, my grandfather's lifetime. So it's been forever so it's been winter but never Christmas, they say. The tragedy. So it's so exciting that Father Christmas is coming back. That means, hey, things are changing. The witch is losing her power. So that's one reason why it's so exciting for them. And they get presents.
How is the White Witch's or the White Queen's reign going to be apparent throughout the play? In the stage, the costumes?
The White Witch, her world, she's got the White Witch, and she has a little dwarf sidekick, poor little dwarf, and Fenris Ulf, the wolf, who's the leader of her army. Costume-wise, they're all in blues and icy colors and tones, and that will be very clear. And Aslan's, all of his people are much warmer tones, earthy tones. So that will be very clear. And the witch, she's tough. She is tough. There's no doubt that she is the quote-unquote evil witch when she walks on stage. There will be no question.
How do you want audiences to feel about this production, or what do you want them to take away?
Well, first of all, I hope they just enjoy it. Right, just as a pure entertainment, I hope they enjoy it. I always want them to be impressed with the work that our students do, because they work so hard. So I always want that too. But as far as the story goes, I hope they are transported to this world, and I hope they are inspired. It's an inspiring story to see these children literally take a mantle and change the world. It's inspiring. I love it.
Thank you. A fantasy production like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe requires special masks, hair and makeup, and costumes. Rebecca Lane visited the theater and 3 of the production designers.
We're here with Richard Curtis, the mask and headpiece designer of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Thank you for joining us, Richard.
Thank you for having me.
What is the most important element of the mask that you make for the play?
The most important element is to capture nature on one side and the cold rigidness of the ice witch on the other side.
So what kind of mask do you make for to portray that?
The type of masks I'm making are, there's different animals for Aslan's followers. There's the beaver, the centaur, the unicorn, the list goes on. And then for the White Witch, there's some that we've not even started yet, but it's metallic, it's cold, it's all got to be icy. Like the dwarf's helmet, it has to look like it's from the world of the White Witch.
What kind of animal is it that we have right here that you've made?
It's actually one of the beavers. It's the only one that's close to completion now, but they're supposed to actually represent the animal, but make it look like it's used out of elements from nature.
Okay. How long did it take you to make that one mask?
The base material, paper mache clay, usually takes 3 to 4 days to dry. So it's waiting on that, but usually I'm in here 10, 20 hours a week working on just the masks.
How many masks, in the end, when the production is started and everything, how many masks will be used?
For right now, I think we're about 10 to 13 masks.
And for the White Witch, how many, or what all does it take to make one? The White Witch's army?
The White Witch is basically the dwarf, the White Witch, and Fenris Ulf. Right now, that's all we have for that.
So what do you use to make those helmets?
Well, the dwarf is made out of, it's hot glue, paper mache clay. But the White Witch in the back is basically made out of trash. It's just heated up, melted plastic bottles.
What kind of wigs do you use for the production?
We're actually using just regular synthetic wigs. With that, we can only use like hairspray and gel and stuff to make it curl. We can't use heat because it will melt them. But other than that, they're all synthetic.
And do you use makeup? What kinds of makeup do you use for the production?
We use anywhere from eyeshadow and eyeliner, like your normal basic makeup, to theater makeup, which is like your grease paint, your tattoo cover-up makeup, stuff like that.
Now, we know you're head over the makeup department. Do you have students working under you?
Yes, we do. Right now we are a total of 3 on my team. It's me and another student that goes here. And then we also have a high schooler from DB that was one of my friends that does makeup at another theater company. And we brought her in to kind of help me out as well.
How long does it typically take you to apply makeup and put the wigs on and get ready?
Whenever I'm figuring something out, it can go anywhere from like 10 to 15 minutes, but that will get shorter as we get closer to the play and the production, just to get that practice in, to get it ready for opening night.
Now, during wardrobe changes, do you have to change makeup out and wigs out as well?
There are a couple that we will have to change, myself included. I'm the elf, and then I have to change into a deer, so that's complete costume and makeup change for me. I know there is another one. The white stag also is a wood nymph, so she goes from being a deer, which is a full headpiece, to just bark on her face, which is completely makeup.
One of the most important aspects of a play is its costumes. We're here with Marty France to tell us what inspired the costumes. So, what did it take to make the costumes for the play?
I think one of the director's visions was she wanted more humanistic characteristics in the characters and less animalistic. So we're taking small traits of each animal and incorporating it into the costumes.
Now, the costume to your side looks like it has a very nature feel to it. Could you explain more about that?
Yes, one of the things that she wanted to incorporate was organic materials, a lot of things that you would find in the forest. So we've used a lot of actual wood and synthetic bark to give it the tree appearance. And then on some of the other costumes we're using like raffia and twine and hemp and then some hair.
How many costumes are you having to make for this production?
A rough count of 32.
Could you tell me whose costume this is to your side?
Yes, this is actually for Tumnus. He's one of my favorite characters in the play. He's the fawn, and I'm really excited to get to work on it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Joining us now is Technical Director Brad McKenzie. Brad, welcome to Direction Northeast.
Thank you.
Your crew has done a lot of work on costumes and masks. How are you bringing characters such as the lion or the fawn Tumnus to life?
Well, with design in general, right, you want to create a unified world of the play. So one of the first things the director asked of us, right, was to, as I believe she said, she gave us a list of words and ideas, right? And since the world is frozen, because we've got the evil white witch, right? When Aslan returns, and with Aslan, hope, right? The world began to thaw and everything took a more organic kind of bent, right? So the loyalties of the characters as well as what we should know about the characters is help express through the masks. For example, the fawn, right, may have little bits of moss and wood, right, on his horns and things like that. So the masks appear to be made organically through wood and stone and moss and things like that. And it's the actual converse with the evil characters, right? They appear very metallic and frozen.
What about the lion? He represents hope and coming back. What are you doing to design his costume?
The costume?
Or the costume, the mask?
He is the returning triumphant king, I guess you could say, right? And at one point, there's a lion and they shave his mane because I don't want to give too much, I don't want to give any spoilers away, right? But he gets shaved during the production by the evil army, right? So it's been an interesting challenge coming up with how do we make a mane of a lion through sticks and stones and moss. So
the White Witch in the movies and the books has such beautiful costumes and makeup. How is she going to be portrayed on your stage?
She was definitely a large point of focus, right? Considering she is the cause for the reason that the world is frozen and icy and bereft of Santa Claus and Christmas and hope, right? Hopefully that will be reflected in her costume. It's very rigid, right? Formal, and through the colors also. And she has a really cool looking crown made of icicles.
Now you said snow, that the land is going to be icy. Can we expect to see snow coming out of the stage, or what can we expect from the snow?
There will be snow.
There will be snow.
There will be snow.
Now you said characters such that are loyal to the king are going to be warm colors. And how are the characters such as, Lucy's name is Lucy the Gentle or something like that, how are their personalities going to come out in their costumes?
Well, at first, right, they are children from our world that have come through the wardrobe, so they'll be dressed appropriately, grounded in our reality, right? And then Father Christmas grants them their special weapons and abilities, right, and their titles. So they are crowned kings and queens, if you're familiar with the story, eventually, right? So we will definitely see a shift from the child who entered versus the coming of age king and queen at the end.
Now, speaking of this magical wardrobe, how are you going to have Lucy pass through this wardrobe into the magical land of Narnia?
You'll have to come see it.
Now, Narnia has many scenes. The story starts in London, which Elizabeth said earlier, we won't be there for long. But there's many scenes in Narnia, such as, the Queen's Castle and the woods and stuff like that. How are you going to portray each scene on one stage?
Well, this is one of the first times that we've attempted to do I don't want to say minimalistic, but it's a very flexible set, I guess, right? The set consists of these two wooden arches that can be turned in all kinds of different configurations to help change the scene, right? As well as stage lighting will help reinforce the differences in locations also.
Now, stage lighting, how are you going to do that? Are you going to use different colors? What's involved with that?
Oh, yeah, sure. There's all kinds of different colors, right? There's also something in lighting called a gobo, which is a flat piece of steel with a pattern cut into it. So you can, provide the illusion of light through trees.
Elizabeth mentioned that there's student involvement in this play has been, drastic, a lot of involvement. How much of this decision making and planning have the students done this production?
I would say almost all of it, right? And I've said in the past that this production was mostly student designed, or this is student designed, and if you'll allow me to soapbox for 1 minute, right? I don't think people quite understand what that means, right? Because as a theater student myself, I was not able to design a show till graduate school, so our students here at community college are given opportunities that I never had in my career. So that's pretty cool.
The magical land of Narnia is well known to moviegoers and book readers alike. Many fans even wish they lived in Narnia. Where did you begin bringing such a fantastical set to life?
Well, again, Elizabeth came in and had rough parameters, I guess. On purpose, we avoided any previous productions or the now films by the Walt Disney Company, right? Because we wanted this production to be totally our own. So we tried to just build off of her basic ideas and bring it to life how we saw it.
Now, a movie can choose what it shows, it can choose what its viewers see, and a book gives you all the information almost all at once. How is the stage production going to be different? Because it's almost in the middle.
Well, the script itself it varies from the film and the books, right? But also that's our job. That's the job of the designers as well as the actors and the director and myself, is to create a world, right, that then the actors inhabit, which will come across clearly to the audience.
Your crew has done a lot of work on costumes and masks. How are you going to further portray them?
Well, now after the designer's job is done, it's up to the actors and the director, right? Because we give them tools and props and toys to play with, right? But then it's their job to actually inhabit these things and bring them to life.
Now, what kind of materials are you making these masks out of? You mentioned moss, different things.
The base of the masks is papier-mâché clay, right? It's a mix of like toilet paper and linseed oil and joint compound and all kinds of fun chemically things like that, right? When it hardens, it's way more rigid than standard paper mache. It's totally safe to wear, right? And they can be sanded and dremeled and shaped however we need. And then we apply the different layers of paint and moss or stone or whatever we need.
How do you feel about college students portraying children? Are there any challenges toward that?
No, from what I've seen so far, they do a fantastic job.
Now, will that affect your costumes or anything, your mask?
Oh, well, obviously the children, the actors portraying the children won't have masks, right? They will be, and it was, again, right, our job is to build a unified world of the play. So if the children all appear to be as they came from our world, right, and there is a large dichotomy with, say, the followers of Aslan, who are the animals, right, it should make total sense to the audience who's who.
Now, the land is full of magical creatures. You're obviously not going to be able to bring a horse or a unicorn on stage. How are you going to portray these magical creatures?
Mostly through the movements of the actor, right? Say the unicorn, for example, the actor may skip or gallop in a certain manner, right? And they also have the appropriate masks and horns and things like that to kind of clue in the audience on who they're supposed to be.
Now, you're using all naturalistic materials, so are you going to bring in like live moss and like tons of snow moss and everything to create your stage? Or what are you doing?
Because like we said earlier, right? Because the set has to be so flexible because we have all these scenes that come one right after the other, right? A lot of the naturalistic elements, obviously on the pillars or the arches themselves, right? They're made of wood and will be painted to have different textures and things like that on which all appear to be organic materials, right? And through lighting, we may have a snow machine, but to change scenes quickly and smoothly, right? We couldn't. It doesn't. This show did not call for a large, I guess, set of snow and moss and things like that.
What do you want your audiences to take away from this show?
Obviously, we want the audience to enjoy the show and tell 25 people how great it was so that they'll then all come. But the shows here are really a showcase, I think, of our students' work and what's possible. Because I think a lot of our audience gets used to community theater and high school productions and possibly even church productions, right? And the closest professional theater is the Barter in Abingdon, right? So for the money, I think our tickets are only $10, right? And they're free to students. So for the money, I think you're getting the most value for your dollar if you come to see a play here at Northeast State.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back in just a moment to wrap up Direction Northeast.
My name is Ann Ravel. I'm an actress, and I got my start at Northeast State Community College. Just as acting truly allows me to express myself and learn new things about myself, my whole experience at Northeast State has allowed me to do that. I've found new interests, new hobbies, new passions that I would have never known had I not come here. Northeast State gave me a quality education, amazing friendships, but most importantly, it allowed me to discover who I want to be.
That concludes the program for today. We have talked about the many factors that contribute to the stage production of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Community is very important to the students at Northeast State Community College, and this program takes a look at a few of the subjects they find important. Until we meet next time, on behalf of the students, staff, and faculty of Northeast State Community College, I'm Katie Parks, and this is Direction Northeast.